Now we're going to talk about a critically important topic to all parents, that is bullying and our children. Last month, an 11-year-old boy in Atlanta committed suicide after being bullied relentlessly. Just weeks before that, another young boy in Massachusetts killed himself for the same reason. How concerned should we be about our children? Joining us now with some answers is criminal investigator and mother of 2 teenagers, Danine Manette. Welcome back to the show.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
This is just... It's unbelievable that kids are driven to the point that they take their lives.
Absolutely.
And bullying has always been around. I mean, I was bullied when I was a kid. But how early does it normally begin?
Usually around elementary school age. It gets really in full swing by middle school. Earlier than elementary school, though, kids don't really have that intent to harass and to threaten. But elementary schools, when it gets going, in middle school, it gets in full swing, and then by high school, you know, they're really at it.
How do we know if our kids are being bullied?
You start looking for signs, missing and clothing and personal items, strange bruises, scratches, things on their body that are, you haven't seen before. There's no real explanation for. Changes in behavior and moods, in their room a lot, maybe doing poorly in school, not really wanting to interact with the family, not eating, some strange physical ailments, maybe stomach aches, headaches, things that you can't seem to explain, or just complete aversion to wanting to go to school.
Yeah, not even wanting to go.
Not wanting to go at
So
all.
if you suspect that your kid is being bullied, what's the first thing you should do? Should you ask the child?
Yes, the first thing you need to do is sit down with your child and provide a loving, nurturing atmosphere, a supportive atmosphere for them to be able to tell you exactly what's going on, who's doing what, where these things are happening, when, who are the witnesses to what's happening, who have they told, have they expressed their concerns, or have they told a teacher or an administrator, and what was done as a result, what they've done to try and avoid the situation, have they fought back, have they run away. You need to get a complete and full picture about what's going on so that you can have all of this stuff documented before you take your next plan of action.
I mean, how soon do we have to nip this in the bud before it gets to the point where the child is considering taking his or her own life?
Immediately. You don't know how long it's been going on. So in order to wait another day could be something that's very detrimental to the child. You really need to jump on it right away. You can't sit and wait and hope and think, well, maybe it'll blow over, because your kid really needs you.
So after talking to the child, what's the next thing to do? Do you go to the school? Do you talk to the parent of the bully? What's next?
You write down everything your child has told you. You create a document that you then take up to the school, and you take it to the principal. You don't stop at the teacher. You deal with the principal. You CC a copy of that document to the district so that they're aware that there's a parent that's having a problem and that they need to know that they need to be on top of things, and they need to understand that the school is being presented with this issue. You need to let the administrators know at the school that this is what's going on, this is what your kid has told you, and let them know that you expect them to fully investigate the situation and to get back to you forthwith with whatever the results of their investigation is, and also what their plan of action is.
How do you reassure your child that going to the authorities is not going to make the situation worse? The bully is going to beat me up more now because you told the principal.
Well, that's why you need to be there for your child. They need to understand that they cannot be victimized. You can't just be a wimp and say, oh, we'll just ignore the problem and it'll go away. It's not going to go away. Sometimes we do need to involve other outside authorities in order to make a problem stop. We're dealing with life and death sometimes, and you can't just allow your child to be scared any longer. You need to be at the same place as them, and you need to have their back and let them know that you're going to support them, and together you're going to get through this.
Now, being picked on is part of life, too, growing up as a child. How do we know, how can we tell if it's just like, oh, Johnny's picking on me, he's being a bully, or it's like serious bullying?
You can look at the demeanor of your child. If your child is obviously becoming depressed, if your child is being physically attacked, if your child is having bruises and marks and things that they just don't want to explain or they don't want to talk about, you really know your kid. Nobody knows your child better than you. And you can really hone in on the things that are going on with them and their behavioral changes, and that's when you kind of recognize if this is something that's just a small schoolyard problem or if this is a much greater issue.
Yeah. I know there's no one-size-fits-all answer to this, but how do we know when things are at the point where it could be so serious that we might need outside help, like a psychologist or law enforcement, or that your child might actually be thinking about doing something to harm himself?
If someone is putting their hands on your child, that's a good time to start considering dealing with law enforcement. You need to, if necessary, take legal action. There are federal protections that will protect your child, as well as the California Education Code that has protections for your child in terms of being bullied or harassed on the basis of race, sexual orientation or perceived sexual orientation, religion, color, handicaps, disabilities. All of these things are protected. And if the district is aware that you know that your child is protected under the California Education Code as well as the federal law, then they may stand up and take notice. The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Is there ever a good time to confront the parent of the bully?
There are different opinions on that. Some people believe that you shouldn't. Me personally, in dealing with the situation that I had with one of my children, I called the other parent. I think that the face-to-face, sit-down, talking to parents time has come and gone, and I really think that that's sad, because if you can look at the situation and evaluate whether or not you think this parent will be open and receptive to what you're trying to tell them, then I think you should, give them a call, knock on their door, let them know that this is what's going on, and that, they need to fix the problem on their end, and you're going to work on it on your end, or you two sit down together with both of the children.
And you touched on something that's really important. That is, bullying is not always about physically abusing or beating up someone. One of the kids who took his life last month was being picked on for what was perceived as his sexual orientation.
Exactly.
And because it was so brutal and so relentless, and he felt so bad about himself.
Exactly.
He took his own life.
And that's why it's real important for parents to do things to encourage their child to build up their self-esteem, to build up their self-confidence, to get outside activities for them to be involved in, things that make them feel good. And, of course, let them know you are on their side, you have their back, you're in their corner, and you're going to fight for them.
Danine, this is great advice, and this is way too important a topic to ignore. So there's more information on our website, and if you suspect this is happening to your child, go to the school, right?
Yes, and you can also go to nobully.com.
Thanks, Danine.
Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.